Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Kinetic Ministries, back with another video for season 14, episode 19. I hope that you all are having an absolutely blessed Tuesday so far. And guys, it's getting into kind of a changing time of the year. A week from today, from when this is posted, is my graduation day. And so I know that there are a lot of graduates out there. I ask that you keep all of the class of 2023, whether in college or in high school, in your prayers, that you keep myself and my twin brother in your prayers. I kind of made a video several videos ago talking about my future plans and then what the future looks like for Kinetic, and then it's not just going to be going away. I have no plans on stopping, but I do ask that you keep us in your prayers as I keep you all in my prayers as well. And so what I wanted to talk about today is kind of a big controversy that has come about within the Catholic Church this past week, being Pope Francis's announcement that the 21 Coptic martyrs of Libya are to be considered official martyrs by the Catholic Church, and maybe even saints, and then we'll be getting into that this week. And so I just want to start off by reading Pope Francis's statement, okay? And he read it alongside Pope Tewedros, who is the Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church, and we'll be talking about what that church exactly looks like later on also. But Pope Francis said, quote, "I am glad to announce today that, with the consent of your holiness, these 21 martyrs will be inserted into the Roman martyrology as a sign of the spiritual communion uniting our two churches. May the prayer of the Coptic martyrs, united with that of the Theotokos, continue to grow the friendship between our churches until the blessed day when we can celebrate together at the same altar and commune in the same body and blood of the Savior, that the world may believe." So, that's his quote. It's important to look, number one, at what even the story of these martyrs is. Number two, what the Coptic Orthodox Church is. And then number three, if there is any precedent for what Pope Francis is doing. Because there's a lot of different kind of opinions on this. And I'm not going to be giving my own personal opinion. I'm just going to be giving the facts of the entire situation as a whole. If there is precedent for what Pope Francis is doing, and kind of how we as faithful Catholics are to react to it. So, number one, just the story of the 21 Coptic martyrs of Libya is they were killed by ISIS in 2015, and then this is a pretty brutal story, and so I want to warn that as well, right? That it is a very serious topic because it's a very serious story, and that whatever kind of side you fall on it, the acknowledgement of the bravery of these martyrs is undeniable. They were lined on the shore in orange jumpsuits. And there's a video of them being beheaded by ISIS. And I'm not going to show imagery from that on here, obviously. But it's a video that went viral in 2015. And it was a huge deal. And for the Catholic Church, it's unprecedented in the sense that there has never been video recording of a martyr what's the word I'm looking for, of a killing actually taking place when it comes to officially recognized martyrs by the Catholic Church. I'm not saying there hasn't been ever when it comes to officially recognized martyrs by the Catholic Church. And so it's unprecedented in that sense. 20 of the 21 were migrant workers from Egypt. There was one, Matthew Ariga, who I'm definitely mispronouncing that a little bit, was from Ghana. And he is seemingly not Coptic. It's unclear whether he was Christian before or whether seeing the bravery of the original 20 led to his conversion. Regardless, when he was questioned by the terrorists, he said, quote, "Their God is my God," and then saying he shall go with them. And so the 21 lie on the shore as they died, and it is said that they were singing hymns as they died. And again, there's a video of it, which is brutal, which is really, really sad. And so that's their story as a whole. It is a story that shows a lot of bravery that we can learn a lot from. And when it comes to being members of the Coptic Orthodox Church, that is where the controversy comes into play as well. You look at them, you say, well, or if they're going to be recognized saints, they're not even Catholic. How does that work? How can you even allow that to happen? So number one, it's important to note that as of yesterday, when this was filmed, technically we cannot confirm if they will be considered saints or not by the Catholic Church. They likely will. There was an unnamed Vatican source who claimed that they will be recognized as saints and said, quote, "This is only possible because these baptized persons are already recognized as saints by the Coptic Church," end quote. And so my guess, and again, I'm not in the Vatican, I don't know, is that they will be named saints. I mean, that's what the source said. That's what it's looking like. Technically speaking, as of when this was recorded, okay, it very well could have changed by the time this was uploaded. But as of when this was recorded, this video, technically whether they will be called saints has not been officially confirmed, although it is looking likely, right? Like it is looking likely. There is a way technically to be in the Roman martyrology without technically being a capital S saint, but it is looking likely like they will be. And so if they are, right, then the controversy comes into play of, well, they're not Catholic, so how can we see them as saints? Number one, it's important to note that the Coptic Orthodox Church is an Oriental Orthodox, not an Eastern Orthodox. And so there's a lot of confusion with these Orthodox churches. They're not just like other like Protestant denominations, right? And in the sense that there is a difference there. And Eastern Orthodox churches are in communion with Rome, and so they fall under Pope Francis. Oriental Orthodox churches are not, and so the Coptic Orthodox Church is not in communion with Rome, but they still have apostolic succession, right? That's where it changes. And so because they have apostolic succession, they still have valid sacraments, right? And so it's not like they're just, I hate to say just, but it's not like they're Lutherans or Methodists, right? Without these valid sacraments, they still have valid sacraments. And so Pope Tewodros is a successor of St. Mark, right? As Pope Francis is a successor of St. Peter. And so because they have apostolic succession, they still have a validity of the sacraments, although they are not in communion with Rome. And so that's important to look at also when understanding kind of their faith. The next thing to look at is understanding, guys, if they do become saints, Pope Francis kind of skipped the full canonization process, right? I made videos in the past on the beatification and canonization process. Basically what this is here's the deal. Anybody who is in heaven is a saint, regardless of if they are named a saint by the Catholic Church here on earth. If they are in heaven, they are a saint. But the ones that are named a saint by the Catholic Church here on earth are named that way because as the Catholic Church, we know for certain that those people are in heaven. And so the Catholic Church has a full process, the beatification, canonization, where we hear people called a servant of God, a venerable, blessed, and then saint, right? There is a full process because the Catholic Church wants to ensure that these people are in heaven regardless, right? And so there is that full canonization process. I'm not going to get too much into it in this video. I've made videos on it in the past, but there is a process to do that. And it's not trying to set rules on it. It's not trying to be restrictive. It's because, well, if we're going to say that these people are in heaven, we need to know that they're in heaven, right? And so there are miracles that have to be accounted for as well. So what Pope Francis is doing with potentially skipping this canonization process, it's not unprecedented. It's not particularly usual, but it is not unprecedented, okay? Basically, it's called equivalent canonization. Equivalent meaning like in the same value, where the Pope will kind of pose questions about the validity of the holiness, about if there's any miracles that have been accounted for in which the full exact canonization process is kind of skipped, and they are made saints. And so I have a list here of saints who kind of went this route of equivalent canonization and kind of had a unique process of being canonized. And these include St. Norbert, St. Bruno, St. Peter Damian, St. Cyril and Methodius, St. Cyril of Alexandria, St. Cyril of Jerusalem, St. Justin Martyr, St. John of Damascus, St. Ephraim the Syrian, St. Albert the Great, St. John Fisher, and St. Thomas More. Some of those being pretty popular, well-known saints didn't go through the exact canonization process as we think of it today. And so that is important to note. Also, for the first millennia of the Catholic Church, that official canonization process wasn't entirely spelled out yet, right? For a time, canonization was left up to local bishops, and so it has changed. And so because of that, there can still be validity of a saint without going through that process. So I think that kind of argument against this, that one in particular doesn't necessarily work because, number one, it's not unprecedented, and number two, technically the Pope does have the authority to skip the official canonization process, and it has happened before. Now, when we're looking at non-Catholic saints, Okay, when we're talking about, well, have there been saints who have been not Catholic, it gets a little bit dicey, because throughout church history, there have been Eastern Orthodox churches who at points have split off and then come back into full communion with Rome. And so there was a question posed for a long time of, well, if these Eastern Orthodox churches split off, they had a saint that they officially canonized within that Eastern Orthodox church, and then they came back into full communion with Rome. What's Rome to do about those saints, right? What is the Vatican to do about those saints? Because they were a saint, but they weren't in full communion with Rome when they were named a saint. And so the whole idea of salvation outside the church, I talked about that last week in the video last week, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But that was a big question. And so there was an idea that, oh, well, maybe as a part of, if they want to come back in full communion with Rome, they have to acknowledge that their saints aren't valid, that their saints are all in hell, all that stuff. That's not the route that popes went, right? Popes allowed these people to continue to be recognized as heavenly benefactors, right? So in the Byzantine Rite, as an example, you have people like St. Photius and St. Gregory Palamas who are still honored, right? And so that is to be taken into account also. So there's this kind of side where it's, well, they're not in full communion with Rome. You have this idea of, because they're not in full communion with Rome, that they can't be named saints, and so this is blasphemous, this is terrible. And then you have this kind of other side where it's like, well, you have had kind of some dicey stuff in church history also, and that ultimately they still died for their faith. Again, I'm not here to give the opinion, but I have throughout this video kind of given the facts of what is going on and kind of your own view to look at. Because again, Coptic Orthodox, they have apostolic succession, and that's something to account for, although they are not in full communion with Rome. And we know that we here in the Roman Catholic Church are the one true church. And so that is important to recognize and understand as well. Ultimately, regardless of where you stand, the bravery and then the heroism of these 21 martyrs of Libya is undeniable. And the fact that it was so recent allows us to relate to it a little bit more. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it is time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's saint of the week is, well, of course, what the topic of this video surrounds, the martyrs of Libya, the Coptic martyrs. And so, again, number one, it's important to note, as of when this was recorded, official confirmation of whether they will be considered saints or not technically has not happened. It looks like it will, but as of when this was recorded, stuff can change, obviously. But since I've already explained their story and kind of what happened with them, I really, really want to spend some time talking about kind of what we can learn from them, because the reality of how recent they are, and again, the beauty that is within that is just insane. Literally 8 years ago, right? Just a year before this YouTube channel started, is when all of that happened and that video went viral. And I kind of remember seeing it on the news at that time. I obviously don't remember fully seeing the full video. I was 10. But there is just a beauty there in that, despite the fear, despite the cameras, despite the modern time that we are in right now, these 21 individuals, which is a lot, were able to remain so strong in their faith, so strong in their love for Jesus Christ, that they would not waver, even if it meant death. And yeah, that's the case for every martyr within the Catholic Church, and there's a beautiful nature to everyone who's a martyr. But seeing it, right, knowing at least that it could be seen, just adds a whole new level. I'm not encouraging watching the video by any means. I don't think that you should. I haven't, right? I mean, I've seen like pictures from the video. I haven't watched the full video. I'm not planning on it. So I don't encourage you to do that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is knowing that is something that I mean, it went viral. It was an internet thing in our world, right? And those people, they lived with the internet, and then they lived with the modern world today, yet they did not waver. There's a beauty there. I'm not saying that we ourselves are going to be martyred. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, I can't predict the future, but that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there is a faith to hold on to, right? To grasp at, and our love of Jesus Christ should never waver. no matter what is in front of us, whether that's peer pressure, whether that's jokes, whether that's people making fun of us for our faith. That should never waver. And these 21 men of Libya are great examples of this, of that lack of wavering faith, even in the most extreme of circumstances. So thank you all so much for watching this video. This was Keaton of Kinetic Catholic Ministries. Please check out the website, kineticcatholicministries.com. There's so many awesome things you can do on there. Because I'm not just a Catholic YouTuber, but I'm also a speaker. So if you want to book me to come and speak at your church, school, men's group, women's group, youth group, event, conference, you name it, please reach out to us directly at kineticcatholicministries@gmail.com, or go to the website, kineticcatholicministries.com, click the Contact Us page, and reach out to us from there. On the website, all my videos are up there. Very own Kinetic shop is up there. So please do go check all that out. Please check out all 3 of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description down below. Please comment any saint or topic suggestions that you might have for future videos. Please click the red subscribe button and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. And please share this channel and video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kinetic. Once again, I'm wishing you all a very blessed May as graduation season for many of us is upon us. And if you are watching this and you're a graduate from high school, college, whatever it may be, I do pray for you and pray that whatever your future holds, it may be one of fruitfulness and abundance, keeping Christ at the center of it all. Thank you all so much for watching. This was Keaton Gummerson of Kinetic Ministries. I will see you all next week. And hi, Brielle.